We are the Orphans of Ragnarökr. As Fenrisulfur the wolf approached, the goddess Freyja banished our forefathers to this forgotten land, so they might escape the foretold destruction of Midgard. That was 7 generations ago. Here, every day is a struggle to survive. The gods are dead, and we are outcasts in this harsh land called Jotunheimr, Ironhome. And we are not its only prisoners. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, to the story of Knut Holgersson. Sorry. It's been a couple weeks since I made it, so I kind of forgot the hero's name there, but that happens. I was going to do the next episode a little sooner, but I took some summer break time and all that, so no regrets on my behalf. But thank you for coming back, and we'll just get back into the story. Well, first we'll recap. So Knut Holgersson found out that his sons had basically had trespassed these ancient ruins sitting above their town, their village of Elderwatch, or Uldungavacht, a place called Axewatch, where heroes had lived once long ago and then disappeared, and it was a haunted place. Well, they being kids, and surely they're not the only ones over this time that kind of snuck up there and did stuff, but they went inside. Something bad happened. His son, who's is actually his nephew, Orn, but he's raised him as a son since his father has died. He's raised him like his own 2 sons, who both ran away as these terrible things happened, and they lost track of where Orn was. They decided to come back and get help. Knut convinced the village chieftain, the Goti, to let him go up and try to rescue his son, to rescue Orn. And Orn went up, found some people, unbeknownst to him, they were zealots, but they were exploring the ruins, looking for information. He also had a interesting time seeing some visions, and you probably have just watched, or well, maybe have just watched the last video, may know all this stuff. I'm partly going through this for myself because I haven't. I had to look over my notes. Anyway, so after leaving the explorers, the zealots behind, after one lost his temper and ended up killing himself essentially on accident, he finds Orn crumpled in this dark chamber, and as he enters, he hears a noise, turns to the right, and there is a walking dead, an Aptargangar, as those of us who like to pretend we know ancient Norse words that we can throw out there and try to sound cool. And he comes forth and attacks. So we're going to use our app over here. We're going to click on Enter the Fray, and it'll let you do a random foe, but we're going for horror, and I think the best one for this guy, probably a bone walker. Say he's a bone walker. Yeah. And what he actually represents is a Draugr, which is a type of undead. Okay, so with a spear in one hand and a torch in the other, Knut enters the fray. So we go over to our moves. Where are they? Moves. Combat. Enter the fray. Okay, so we've already decided. Well, it decided for us. It's dangerous. So that's 2 and 2. And we're going to roll our challenge dice and see what happens. Okay. 3. Let's see. Not really ambushed, I don't think. So I guess it would probably be roll versus heart. That seems to make sense. We have a roll versus heart as he's got to sort of gather his wits, not his wits, but he's got to steel his soul to fighting this monster that he has never really seen one before. He believes that they exist. He's just never fought one. So, 1. So that's a weak hit. He can take initiative or take +2 momentum. I think his momentum is... Alright, so as we can see up on the character sheet, Knut has a momentum of 7. So he's going to go ahead and take the initiative. Take the initiative. And he's just gonna keeping his torch forward. He's gonna just try to jam that spear into this guy's face. He's not quite perfect, but all my other skeletons are a little small, at different size. And I thought it'd look better to have a big scary guy that didn't look quite right than a teeny guy that did. So. Alright, so he has a iron of 3, and he's going to try to jab that dude. Okay. Alright, so that's a weak hit, so it's going to do damage. Do his hit. And then he's going to lose initiative. So now his move is going to be a clash. And so the Draugr stumbles forward. His skin, his stinking skin, black in the dark. The shadows from Knut's torch, casting strange shadows over his unnatural features. But he comes forward with his chip-thrusted sword and swings with a speed and power that something so dead shouldn't have. Okay. Oh, alright. So that's going to be a strong hit for that clash. So he's going to take 1 momentum. Oh, no, let's see. Choose 1. Let's see. I have the initiative. I'm going to inflict an extra harm. And then get the initiative. Oh, actually, last turn should have been that. And that. Always, sometimes I get mixed up on taking the harm. Each harm, I should be clicking once for each harm. Last time he did 2. And then this time... Alright, so he fills up. He fills him all the way up. He's got the initiative, and so he jabs that spear. He stabs it into this Draugr's face, and the Draugr is swinging. He takes a swing at Knut. Knut ducks out of the way. He's just pretending he's any other foeman. He's any other man. He's just a very ugly, stinky one. And he jabs his spear in, right in between the Draugr's teeth. And as the Draugr is sort of pushed back against the side of the the wall, the tomb wall, Knut just jams the torch up under his chin and catches him on fire. Catches that Draugr on fire, and as the fire leaps up around his head, catches. He's screaming with one of those echoing, ethereal screams that is. It too is just sort of seems like it's rebounding off the walls, coming from the stones in the walls, and Knut leaps back, wide-eyed, at what he sees as the fire just seems to just completely it just covers him, just engulfs him in a matter of seconds. But Knut's ready. He's got his spear, and the Draugr is kind of clawing at his face, at his helmet. He drops his sword and it clatters to the floor. And the light from this burning undead monster is now filling the chamber more than his tiny torch. And then the Draugr collapses and falls onto his knees, and then falls over sideways against the wall, and the body just burns away into blackness, and like a black smear on the ground and against the wall. The helmet sort of clinks onto the ground and rolls around a little bit and stops almost. Its empty helmet eyes staring up at Knut, and Knut's staring back at it. Then after a couple of moments of staring at this thing, he hears Orn groan. Actually, I realized I just forgot to do the in the fight move, which is what's called progress move. Okay, so that's a strong hit, so that means that the what does that mean exactly? In the fight, strong hit. Foe is no longer in the fight. They're killed out of action, flee, surrender, whatever. So I pretty much just described that he caught on fire and fell to the floor and all that stuff. So Knut goes over and looks at Orn, trying to get an idea of what exactly is wrong with him, and I'm not exactly sure what's wrong with him either. Knut beat the timer, or at least seemingly so far, the challenge timer that I had set up to add kind of that time bomb. But he beat that. He got here a lot quicker, and he beat that guy pretty quick too. Maybe I should have made it a little tougher, but it's an intro battle. Let's see. Is Orn okay? I'll say 50-50. 51 or higher. He's just unconscious or something. Okay. 69. So he looks and he sees that Orn has been hurt. He sees injuries. He's beat up and he's bruised. But he looks to be okay. He's breathing at least, and that's always good. So he starts slapping Orn gently on the face, trying to wake him, and so again, still kind of in that inciting scene. So as he starts looking at Orm, trying to wake him up, he hears scraping behind him, and he turns and he sees that the Draugr is back in his little throne with the rusted sword across his lap again, and the helmet, the old beat up helmet, on his head, with the new scorch marks up the side from being set on fire, and peering out through the helmet eye slots, Knut can see those red glowing eyes, those red glowing fire pits of eyes staring at him again. And the Draugr looks between him and Orn and says, "He is of your blood, but he is not your son. He fought well for a time, but you defeated me. You both have woken and assaulted me. I, the last lord of Axewatch, we meant no harm. I meant no harm. I meant only to rescue my son. We had no idea you were here. We've respected this tomb, this place, this holy place for generations." The Draugr laughs in this croaking, cracking voice. "This is no hallowed place. This is a cursed place. I have been trapped here for those generations that you've been avoiding it, set under a curse. I have no idea from whence the curse comes. Only that I was awoken, attacked, and awoken again in this state." Now, Axewatch itself, according to the history, was run by, or was established by, what's that guy's name? Goonie? Locations and settlements. It tells us here in the history. Oh yeah, Goonie the Wild. Now, according to the legend, Goonie left, and no one knows what happens to him. Let's see, is this Goonie? I'm gonna say it's not likely. It's probably one of his other heroes that maybe he left behind. So unlikely, 76 or greater. It's actually Goonie himself. Maybe it's Gunny. Gunny sounds a little more threatening than Goonie. Oh, okay, 97. That was a 7. 97. So this is actually Goonie, the one who established the place. That was my fate, for driving the Vetter from the lands and establishing this area's safe haven for the people, for the humans, as we were sent to do. Now, Knut is still looking on. He's trying to look back and forth. He's trying to still examine Orn while keeping an eye on this undead monster that is now back in place. And so he knows he can be defeated, at least temporarily, but he's he's not really exactly sure what he can do or what to do. I established it. I, Goonie the Wild. You are Goonie the Wild? Knut's fear is overshadowed a moment by a bit of healthy incredulity. Yes, I am. And you too have attacked me in my home. I only wish to get my son out. I only wish to leave. We will make sure that no one comes in again. It is too late for that. You, for your trespass, will lift this curse from me. I am no magic man, I am no trollman, I know nothing of curses. Then you will find out. You will find someone who does. And you will let me die, so that I can finally go back to Valhall. I will finally go back and see what has happened in Midgard. You were in Valhalla before? Yes. I and my brothers, the Einherjar, we who are tasked by Freya herself to see to your well-being and guide you to the safe places in this hellhole of a land. But instead of finding halls and battle, I find only dust in my mouth, ashes, stone, and darkness. You must free me from this curse. Find out what has happened, who has cursed me, and lift the curse. Bring honor back to Axe Watch. And if you don't, you shall bear the curse with me. I say it. Well, Knut doesn't really know what to do about that because he does not know anything about curses, but the common man believes these superstitions are very strong, they're very real to him, that just a normal person can speak things, curses into existence, let alone some some ancient undead lord who's claiming to be one of the heroes from Jornheimer's history. Everyone in Elderwatch knows of Gunni the Wild. He was, as the tales tell, he led the band of people who cleared this whole area of the Vetter and the monsters, so that Elderwatch could be established and the area could be planted. So take your son and go. And do not dally. Find the curse. Lift this curse. Free me. And then the eyes wink out, and the arms go limp into the chair, and the head creaks over, now completely lifeless. Knut stares at Gunni the Draugr, and watches him for a couple of minutes, and sets his spear against the wall and sets his torch in a nearby sconce, sets it in there long enough. Orn is not waking up, so Knut lifts him over his shoulder and manages his torch and his spear as best as he can while he's trying to carry his son back out. It was kind of a race in there, in the person that led him is no longer with him. He comes back out and into the chamber where let's see, who is it? Storolf. Is that his name? Yeah, Starolf and Gudni were. Let's see. Starolf he's the stones fell on him and took him out. Let's see if Gudni is still there. I'm going to say it's likely because the battle was very quick. But if there was screaming and all that, the screaming of the battle and this undead thing going on, and the voice echoing through the darkness, Gudni may have decided that Starolf, her master, was not really worth hanging around and trying to revive in the face of all that supernatural hijinks going on. So instead, I think I'll drop that down to 50-50. 51 or higher. She is still there, maybe cowering, but still trying to help Starolf. 51 or higher. Okay, nope. She beat feet. As Knut walks in, Starolf is still laying on the ground, blood from where pooling and running on his face from where those stones fell. And he's going to, he's going to try to follow her. He's going to try to follow her tracks in the dust. Now they had made several tracks, but if she is running somewhere else, he knows that he can at least try to follow those tracks back. So I'm going to give that to be I'm going to bring that to be a wits roll. All right, so that is what's his wits? All right, so that's going to be a fail. All right, so he ends up actually getting lost. He's kind of holding the torch out as he's carrying Orn, and he finds that Orn, or he finds maybe an old set of tracks from Storolf and Gudni's prior explorations, or maybe even from his sons earlier that night, or the night before. So he gets himself a little confused, and so we're going to make him get back into a delve, carrying his son. Now he did find, so that's move. Let's see, would that be okay? Yeah, I'll have him do a. I think it's a escape. Delve. Escape the depths. Let's see, when you flee or withdraw from a site. So that's what he's going to do. So we'll say that was a. We'll say that's what that was. On a miss, an imposing obstacle stands in your way. Reveal a danger. Uh-oh. So I want to reveal a danger. All right. Well, if I were being smart, or at least remembering stuff, which I'm not the best at the best of times, I would have remembered that the reveal a danger move is right there. So I'm going to reveal a danger. 54. You encounter a hostile denizen. All right. So a good chance for that. Show denizens. All right, and as before, if it doesn't fit, I'm going to just kind of ignore it. 85. All right, so we got an 85, which is a white. Well, that makes sense. It is, after all, the haunted ruins, so white sounds pretty good. Let's go build him and see if we can do as good against him. I think whites might be a little more frightening than the Draugr. Enter the fray. Or the foe. Oh, okay. So we'll end the fight. Get rid of the Bone Walker. Okay, so the whites are formidable. All right, so as Knut is carrying Orm through the darkness, he runs down down the hallway, and after a minute, he realizes he's completely lost. He doesn't know where he's at. He's followed the steps around, and suddenly the steps, the tracks in the dust, in the grime, halt. They stop in front of this room, and whoever made them before did not go into the chamber beyond. So he's not sure if he should go that way or not. But he sees a figure ahead of him, and he stops and doesn't really, he kind of freezes. He doesn't know if he should try to call out, if this is some other apparition, or if maybe it's another one of these zealots that might know something, or maybe if it's even Budni. So he watches for a moment, but he doesn't need to call out, because the figure turns, and all he can see is this steel, or this iron mask that covers their face, and it's not like some elegant mask like the elves are supposed to wear, or that even they, I guess he's seen them, not like an elvish mask that he's seen way back in his time adventuring, but it's a blocky, dour, heavy, looks like a burial mask, and the creature just is exuding this darkness, and Knut knows he can't escape this creature with Orn over his shoulder. He can't hold them both. Let's see. But he's going to try. He's going to try to run away because he doesn't want to fight anymore. He doesn't want to get involved in any more curses or anything like this. And as soon as he turns and runs, he hears a shriek from behind him, and he knows that the creature is following him. So, but he's still going to try to. He's going to try to make an escape first. And so that, let's see. I believe that'd be a face danger or secure an advantage. Because he is supposed to face this thing before he can get away. Okay. You attempt something risky or react to an imminent threat. Envision your action. And he will, since he's trying to run away, he's going to do speed. He's going to use edge, which is not really, I mean, it's not his best, but it's all right. It's not his worst. So he's going to try to run away with edge. He's just going to try to get out of the way. Okay, so that is a weak hit. Let's consult an oracle. I haven't consulted an oracle in a while. Let's consult an oracle. It says I'm supposed, on a weak hit, you're supposed to have a troublesome cost. The most obvious cost is, well, one that he couldn't, it says he could get away, but the obvious cost is going to be Orn. maybe he has to drop Orn, or maybe Orn slips, or something like that. Let's see what happens. Use not you. Expected feature. Not pay the price. Okay, 66, which puts us at a finish. 16. Finish innocence. Okay, well, I think that fits pretty well. I don't know how innocent Orn is as far as those things go, but so as Knut's running along, he skids around a corner. He's able to pull, but Orn slips from his grip, and he's able to kind of guide him to the ground. And he looks back, and he can see. He looks back, and he can see the figure running closer, gaining on him. But on the other, when he looks the other way, he can see what looks like some kind of light. It looks like maybe some kind of daylight, not bright, but it's not flickering. It's not flickering light, but it looks like it's daylight. It might just be from a crack in the ceiling. He doesn't know, but he figures that's probably the right way. But he can't abandon his son, and so holding on to the fact that he defeated one of these undead monsters already, one of these creatures in here, he can he hefts a spear and gets his torch ready again to set some more undead fires, and he screams at it, "Be gone, beast! Be gone! I have no trouble with you. I have no quarrel with you." But the figure stops as he yells at, but continues to approach, and he can tell from the walk and from the height now as she approaches, and as it approaches, he can tell that it moves more like a woman, and it's more it's a little more slight than he is, and it definitely looks very feminine, or as it's moving, in as much as you can tell that through its kind of rotted clothes and the iron mask. But she pulls out a sword, and they shriek and just charge at each other when he realizes that this creature which he recognizes the tails of the mask, and knows that this is what is called the White, and charges in. So now it's another enter the fray. Problems of using a small desk. Okay, so weak hit, and he's going to take the initiative. Back to our monster here, enter the fray. White. And he charges. He's trying to lunge that spear like right under the helmet, see if he can get it under that mask, gouge out this thing's neck. Not entirely sure that being the type of creature it is, that'll do much, but he's going to try. Okay, strong hit. So he manages to run forth. She tries to knock his spear away as he closes, but at the last second, he dips it under her blade and just plows it into her neck. So that's going to be a +1 hit. Let's see. Do I get momentum for that? No, okay. Let's retain initiative. So +1 hit, so that's going to be 1 hit, 2 hit, 3 hit, and he gets the initiative. So as he's trying to leverage that, he's got his his spear and his he's got his spear and his torch, kind of held them together on his in his hand, and he's trying to jerk her around. She's not spurting blood and dying though, so he's a little sad about that. But he's trying to slam her against the wall, and so you can shove that torch into her. See if she'll go bonfire like the last guy. So she's another not enter the fray, another strike. Oh, get that, another strong hit. 2 and 3. So all right, so he slams her up against the wall, and he gets that torch up into her face, and the scream that comes from is muffled under the under that steel mat or that iron mask is it does have some kind of remnants of femininity to it, but it is such a terrible sound that it's makes it almost worse. And he's going to try to pin her there and just keep shoving that fire into her. Oof. All right. He's getting pretty lucky on these rolls. Maybe he has a new trade as Undead Slayer. So he's got a 3 and a 3, and a strong success. So that's 1, 2, 3, and he takes the torch and he slams it against the side of her head and knocks the mask askew, and he can see the remnants of her face underneath, obviously, pallid and just lifeless, at least not normal life. He can, obviously she's still looking, and her teeth, she's growling and screaming, still struggling with the spear that's jabbed into her throat, pinning her against the wall. So he knocks that mask aside and then just shoves it, and her hair and her face just go up in flames. And we're gonna do an end the fight. We're gonna see if that's enough to end the fight. All right. So she starts screaming, and as her body catches fire, she just seems to lose all of her strength, her tattered robes, her mildewed armor, her all her clothes, her hair, her skin, everything except her mask, just it combusts into flame. And Knut is now he's now kind of holding it far as back as possible, kind of pinning her to the wall as she's flinging, flailing around, and the light from her burned body is casting these shadows, and her screams are just filling the hallway, and he can barely stand it. He can barely stand listening to it. But I'm going to use that 3/3. It wakes up. Orn wakes up, and he wakes up with a scream himself. And Knut looks down as at the scream to see what else is going on, why Orn's suddenly screaming. But Orn is just screaming in wide-eyed blind terror. He's like he's not even there. He's screaming at something else, it looks like. But he's at least awake. And when this creature finally stops flailing, let's see. I wonder. Let's see. I'm going to take a quick peek at the white in my fancy delve book, page 132. I just want to see, if this is kind of a maybe one of those creatures that doesn't die. Let's see. They often have the corrupted. Okay, yeah. So her features were corrupted. All right. Well, he won't know. I actually kind of I know a little. I know a little secret about her. I know a little bit who she is and why she's there, or why she was there originally a long time ago. But anyway, she catches and finally she stops screaming and everything goes back to this silence where the only noise is the crackling of her body, and Knut tosses her body to the side like some hay with a pitchfork, and her mask clambers onto the ground and kind of makes a loud noise as it rolls back and forth against the uneven floor. Orn looks up at Knut, and he doesn't. It's like he's not quite sure what's going on. He doesn't recognize him. But Knut says, "Up! Can you walk, Orn? Can you walk?" And he pulls Orn up by the neck, or by his tunic, and Orn stares at him. He doesn't know, and Knut slaps him a couple times, and Orn wakes up and says, "Father, father!" And Knut says, "Come, boy, follow me now." And he runs out towards the light that he saw, and as it turns out, it was light that was sort of drifting in from the main courtyard. And Orn occasionally he stops. Knut has to turn around and grab him and pull him to get him running again. As Orn's looking around in panic, and finally they get out to the main courtyard, and there's nothing there. That it seems like in the shadows of all these openings, there are now whispers, like there's a community maybe of undead or spirits of the past who are just terribly offended by the intrusion, by what's happened in their haunted halls. But Knut, he just runs. He outside he tosses the torch onto the courtyard, and leaves it, and he grabs so he can grab Orn's hand and pull him behind, because Orn is still very confused. He doesn't really seem to know what's going on, and he's going between sort of wild-eyed terror and just open confusion. And so Knut pulls him out, shoves him through that mildewing gate that leaves Axewatch, and Knut looks back one final time, and he thinks he sees is two little pinpoints of fiery light. So dim he's not even sure that he's seeing them, or if it's his mind playing tricks. Back in the darkness of the door that he went through. But the words, the threat echoes in his mind from the Draugr's voice, from Guni the Draugr. You will share my curse. And so he knows that he has to. And he grabs his son's arm again and flees down the path. Let's see. I'm going to say that I just want to see if Gudni's still around. I'm going to say that Gudni probably ran. She either is still inside, maybe hiding in one of their rooms. I'm going to say that there's a small chance that he meets her, because maybe she fled and is outside. Let's see, small chance. No, okay. So he doesn't see her. He doesn't even check to see if there's any tracks or anything. He leads Orn down the path from Axewatch to Elderwatch, to the village of Elderwatch. And down at the bottom, the villagers, many of them are gathered. Those who are of a mind, are able, have gathered swords, some of the helmets and shields and spears, just watching intently at the path. And at the head is the Goti, Arnvir. I think that was his name. Arnvid. Arnvid Hromundson. Arnvid is also armed. He has a large axe and a Spangen helm on his head, and he's chanting and offering blot. There's a goat on the ground that has been sacrificed, and he's dipping a bushel in it, and he's kind of chanting and sprinkling blood around the village, and they all stop as Knut pulls Orn behind him into view, and a cheer goes up from the village, and Knut stops at the gate, pulls Orn through. Orn collapses, and his mother, Sonia, comes, and she's crying, and she's holding Orn, and hugging him. And Arnvid shuts the gate that leads up the path, and he is just flinging blood at that thing for all he's worth, flinging blood and saying chants to keep the spirits back up in Axewatch where they belong. And Knut is leaning against one of the buildings, leaning kind of propped up on his spear, trying to catch his breath, looking at the gate, and then looking back up towards the rock that Axewatch is built up above the town. And he looks at Arnvid, and Arnvid looks at him grimly, and then looks at Orn, and then comes forth and embraces Knut, and shakes him by his shoulders and said, "You did it! You did it! But we heard such terrible screams. Are they coming? Did you anger the spirits? Are they coming for us?" Knut looks down at Orn, and then shares a look with Sonia, who also wants to know, obviously. And as he's looking into her eyes, he says, "Only for me." And at that point, uh, I think we're about 50 minutes. I think that's a good stopping point. So the village sort of gathers. There's several of them stay at the gate anyway, holding whatever, a lot of Thor's hammer amulets, a lot of little idols of Freya, as they continue to watch the path. Knut speaks as best as he can, because he's very shaken. He himself is just trying to process everything as a cart is fetched, and Orn, who's still having trouble walking, staying on his feet, and just confused. They load Sonia and Orn up, and a couple of the villagers pull this cart as they head towards Hilma's hut, the Volva's hut, to take a look at Orn, make sure he's okay, make sure he's not cursed or anything like that. Make sure that he hasn't somehow been possessed or corrupted or anything like that. As they travel along, Knut tries to tell what he can remember. He's almost just telling it to himself to try to piece everything together about what happened, because it was so strange and terrifying, yet exhilarating. It's been many years since Knut Holgersson met a foe in battle and slew them, especially such worthy foes. And so even though he's terrified, the warrior inside of him is full of the fire, the battle fire, for his victories. He saved his son. He defeated two creatures from legend, two monsters from legend. But his joy is tempered when he remembers that he has been cursed, and he stops the goatee. He tells Sonia and everyone to head on to Hilma's house, and he has the goatee lead him to the cairn in the center of town. This acts as the cairn, just a pile of rocks. This acts as the altar for the town. Elder Watch itself doesn't have like one of small shrines or temples. Most villages do simply have a cairn or a spot that they do their ceremonies at. And he, when it's just the two of them, even though there are people in the village, of course, watching, he explains to him about the curse and tells him about talking to Guni the Draugr and what he has been told he must do. And so he takes an iron vow. He asks the Goti to bring forth the iron ring of his office, the oath ring. And he gets on his knees. The Goti sets the ring on top of the cairn and smears it with blood, and Knut puts his hands on the iron ring and takes an iron vow to lift the curse from Guni the Draugr. and he knows that it probably is going to be involve much more much more than that. Um, but they from there they go to Hilma's hut. When they get there, Orn has already been taken from the cart, and Orn and Sonia are inside talking with the old woman, the seeress, the vulva, and when he tries to stick his head in, he is shouted back out by the old woman, um, and so he now sits and waits for Sonia or Orn to come out. And as he is sitting there, his two sons, uh, Fargrim and Thjalve, uh, look at him eagerly, but keeping their distance, being properly chastised, because they know that they did wrong, and the words that Knut said to Thjalve when he wanted to come back, that he had already abandoned someone else, the words still look, they still hang over Thjalve. Knut, he's still very frustrated with his sons, with his children, for what they did. But he's overcome by the fact that Orn is safe. And so he tells them his war stories, and he embraces them both, gives them a kiss on each cheek, and forgives them and lets them know that everything is okay. And this time we really will call it right there, as they wait for Sonia and Sonia and Hilma the vulva to come out and tell them what they know of Orn. So anyway, thank you for watching. I had a good again, another good time, and we will see you next time. Have a good one.